Hey, what's up everybody? This is Kiakili and welcome to this tutorial where I will be doing a full walkthrough of TradingView. TradingView is my go-to platform for all of my charting and trading needs. I absolutely love it. It's so simple, it's so sleek, it has many customization tools, a full community dedicated to helping one another in their trading with indicators and other advice that they may give, and all sorts of different bonuses that just come with this platform. Now, TradingView is completely free to just get started immediately, but there are tiers if you want extra features in your trading. But I think all of it is worth it, absolutely. And so I'm going to be walking through this. I want to give full explanation of how to set up your chart, how to read a chart, how to customize it to your own liking, and much more. So to get started, I actually want to show you how to even get started on TradingView. You can go to their website here. So tradingview.com is the URL, and this is sort of how the home page looks here. So if you wanted to sign up, you could go over here to get started. And here, of course, it has the different tiers upon which you can sign up for. Again, it's a free platform, but these tiers add extra features if you want it. So I'm actually currently on the Pro Plus one. And so you can trial any of these for about a week or a month. I don't recall. Okay, yeah, about a month you can trial any of these. And actually during your trial, they will offer you a huge discount if you decide to upgrade. They will offer you a absolutely huge discount that's much cheaper than the $15 per month, $30 per month that they're offering you. It's quite like about 50% off, actually. And if you refer a friend, I might drop my affiliate link. This will actually offer you also another discount when you sign up. And so, and here, you don't have to choose a plan straight away. Get our free basic account and explore what's first. And so with the free account, you get access to all charts, and there will be ads, of course. They want to make their money some way, but if you're just want to try it out and you want to see what it is first before you put any money towards it or sign up for any of these trials, absolutely go for the basic plan because it has most of the features already. The one feature that I'm going to demonstrate later on that it may not have is the ability to have multiple charts per tab. That's one that, because I'm watching different charts all the time, different stocks, I prefer having at least 4 charts at a time so that I can multitask much easier rather than having each one in one tab. But I did start this. I was on the free plan for about a year, and from that year I took my account from about $200 to $150,000 and more, all on the free plan. I did not pay for any upper tiered subscription prior to that. I had gotten by very well with just the free plan, and I'm sure you can as well. So that really is the purpose of me, demonstrating this here. So, after you sign up through a website, and you can do all of this in browser, I actually went and downloaded the software that comes with, or that they give on the website. So I'm actually on the software. I believe it runs a bit better, takes up a bit less RAM and energy from your PC or a laptop, whatever you're on. So this is what I prefer. And so one last thing also I want to say before I get into the details of getting set up and whatnot is that TradingView is what makes it more attractive and awesome than other platforms, is it really has everything available to you no matter what you're trading. So if you want to trade stocks, if you want to trade forex, if you want to trade crypto, commodities, metals, if you want to chart all of this stuff, TradingView enables you to do so. Other platforms don't have every single tradable asset. essentially. It doesn't have every asset class, you know, while TradingView can watch whatever it is. So I'm looking at crypto, I'm looking at stocks every single day, and I'm able to access it from this platform. Thinkorswim, in comparison, it's another platform. Although it is one of the greatest platforms, it does not enable you to chart all sorts of forex and crypto. And so that's why TradingView, again, it just appeals to a bigger audience. And again, because it's free, because it's very easily accessible by any browser, even on your phone, it's also available on mobile. That is so accessible in so many different ways. Okay, and so let's get into it. So what are we even looking at here? So right now, I'll actually change my chart to Apple. So their ticker is AAPL. And this is what you see, right? You see the candlestick patterns, you see the volume, you see a bunch of toolbars, and a watch list upon which you can put any stock that you want to watch. Okay, and so what the chart is showing you, I'll start there. In the top left, you can see what stock you're looking at. You can see the bid and ask of that current stock, and so this is overall, you know, the bid and ask that determines the stock price. A list of indicators. So right now we only have the volume indicator installed. This is by default. This is what you will see when you first boot TradingView up from a fresh account. And so then on the other side, we have the price scale. This is the price scale of the, you know, to see where this stock is, or the candlesticks are relative to the stock price scale on the right. So right now, since market is closed, Apple closed at 138.25, and post market, after market close, it's right now trading at 137.86. And yeah, for the really basis of your home screen, that's really it for what you're looking at, right? The green candles are the ones where they went up. The red candles, for me, they're actually purple. I could actually change that here to actually reflect what it is. That might be what you see more likely when you boot TradingView up again. And so we have the green candles, the red candles. So to change between stocks, all you have to do is type the ticker of the stock out. So if I wanted to look at Microsoft's chart, I would type in NSFT, hit enter, and then there it is. I'm on Microsoft's chart. Tesla, TSLA, hit enter. There's Tesla, okay, and GameStop, of course, GME. There it is. And you also don't have to have the tickers memorized. If you know the company's name, you can just type in the full name of the company and it will show you. And so typically you want to go with the stocks that are on a certain index that says the NASDAQ or the NYSE. A lot of this stuff below is kind of like unrelated, and you don't really want to get into it. These are, if this is Apple being traded in other markets. You could see it's in like some of the Chinese market, Italian market, because there are different, you know, stock markets out there beside the U.S. stock market. So you want to stick to the one that is in the U.S. if you're based here, of course. So here right now I'm on the 5-minute time frame, and so I trade a lot of the time on this 5-minute time frame, and so each candlestick of the price movement is updating every single 5 minutes. So here, if you see at the bottom, I forgot to explain here actually at the bottom that this is the time range, and you can change that And you can see here for this says 11:30, and it's in military time, so 15:30, of course, that would be 3:30. And you can change the time scale to fit wherever you are, of course. So I'm based in New York, so I have New York set there. And yeah, so every single 5 minutes on the 5-minute time frame, a new candle shows up. Now I can change this, right? I can actually change this to update every single 15 minutes. So to do that, I would come up to the top left here. I would click on where it says 5 minutes, and I can change it to any time frame that I want, right? From 1 minute to 1 month. You can't do 1 second charts, so you actually have to upgrade for that, and that would actually get a bit hectic. But I like the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 1 hour, and 1 day typically. So if I click on 15 minute, the stock looks completely different now, right? Because it's updating every single 15 minutes as opposed to 5 minutes. And so this gives you a bigger time frame. And so on bigger time frames, you're able to see bigger patterns. And the bigger time frames typically in a macro sense tend to matter a bit more. While on the smaller time frames, you're seeing smaller price movements. So again, that's sort of less data. It's giving you less data of what's happening in a certain time period, of course, as opposed to a complete like day or a week or a month, essentially, you know. Let me switch back to Apple right now, just to use it as a good example. And so if I want to switch to the 30-minute, I don't have to come up here to the top left and just click. That might be a little bit slow. I could actually type in 30 to change my time frame interval to 30 minutes, just like that. For 1 hour, I could type in 60. So for 60 minutes, that'll change it to 1 hour. And you see how the data is changing depending on how bigger of the time frame I go. So if I want to go to 1 full day, I could click the 1 day here, or I could actually type 1D, hit enter, and it changes it to the daily time frame. So on, so forth for 1 week, 1W, and 1 month, 1M. And so that's much faster, I would say, than clicking up here and changing the time frame manually there. And so as you're beginning, you know, you will work with whatever you're comfortable with. But that's sort of the beginning, of course, you know, and these shortcuts will accelerate your ability in trading and understanding charts, essentially, you know. What other features that TradingView has here, you could actually change it for how the price is displayed. So it can be, it's automatically set to candles because most people trade with candlesticks. You can change it to others. If you ever used Robinhood tends to display price as a line, and you could, you know, watch the chart as this. But the thing why people like candlesticks is because it gives more information about where the price in a certain time period is opening, where it's closing, how it's moving overall. You're able to make more sense of it through these candlesticks as opposed to other formations, of course. Okay. If you've been seeing me navigate here, I'm using a mouse, and with the mouse scroll, it allows you to zoom out and zoom in. And so if you want to get zoom out, see more days. So now, like right here, as I was zoomed in, I could only see from June 21st to June 23rd. So this is only about 3 days of data, right? But if I zoom out, I can go out and see all the way from November 2021, right? The more I zoom out, and this is with my mouse scroll again, and I could drag the chart and just go to earlier periods by going to the left, of course. Meanwhile, if I go to the right, it's only going to show you up to the current day, right? So today is June 23rd, and there's, you know, more and more. So, I definitely would. So here, after, you know, seeing the charts, seeing how they work, how candlesticks look, I won't go into everything technical analysis related on how to make sense of these candlesticks. That's definitely for another video, because I just want to show how to use the software itself. On the right side, you can see your watch list. So TradingView will give you a default watch list about what to watch. Here, even though I started a fresh new chart, it's showing me some of the stocks and sectors I watch already. So there's SPY, which is the S&P 500 index ETF, gold, and a bunch of sectors that read, or, you know, a bunch of sectors that follow the price action of different industries. So you have one for financials, that's XLF, energy, XLE, XLRE, that's for real estate, XLP, consumer staples, XLV is for healthcare, and XLY is for technology, and so on and so forth. And so you can build a watch list. I have even my crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, precious metals like gold and silver, my FANG stocks, so like the biggest tech stocks in the world, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Tesla, and so on and so forth. If you wanted to add any stock to this list, you could either come up here, hit the plus sign, add a symbol, and then type whatever stock you would want to. I have most stocks on here, so I actually don't know what to add right now. So I'll say like Duolingo. Maybe that's one stock I don't. I could click Duolingo, add it, and then it'll automatically add to my watch list. Then you could put any of these stocks and section them off by right-clicking, clicking Add Section, and then you can group all of these stocks by whatever you want. So Duolingo, maybe I group it in as app stocks, app store stocks, right? And maybe that's my group that I have for that stock, you know. And what this information in this watch list can tell you too is it can tell you what its last price that the stock was trading at. So let me go to Apple. So we mentioned the 138.27 earlier. You can see the amount of the price that has changed over the course of the day. So Apple on this day went up $2.92. Inversely, Tesla this day went down $3.05. And then it'll show you the percentage of the total stock price that move is. So the total percent increase or decrease of the stock overall in this given day. And then on the end, it actually shows you how much it's moving after market or pre-market, depending on what time of day it is. And you can edit this stuff, or you can customize it to however you want it to. You can actually export this list of watch lists. You could share your list with others. You could rename it, import a list maybe from someone else, and then, you know, see what you want to display on your watch list. Under that, it gives you a bunch of information about the stock itself. So let me drag this up. And so again, it's showing Apple's current price, It shows what's trading post market, the bid and ask, which we saw up here in the top left, but seeing it again here. The day range of the stock, so what its low was, what its high was, the 52-week range, what its low of the entire past year has been, and the high of the entire past year, of course. Volume, some key stats. Volume, average volume. So this is how much of the stock was traded today and how much the volume is traded on the average past 10 days. The market cap of the stock, the dividend yield, however much the stock pays per quarter or per year, depending on what it is. You can actually see the earnings and the performance of the stock over the past earnings. And so it actually tells you when this stock's next earnings is going to be. So as of today, Apple's next earnings is going to be on July 26th. So it's very useful that TradingView gives you all this information all in one place for free. You actually view stocks, how much their dividend pays, their income statement, annual and quarterly, how the stock has been performing the past week, month, 3 months, year to date. TradingView will also give you some technicals. It'll show you whether, according to TradingView, whether right now the stock is in a sell area, a neutral area, or even a buy area. I wouldn't follow this to the T, of course, because all of this is speculative at the end of the day. Yeah, of course, but it's very useful that they give you something to work off of regardless, And you can also see their analyst rating. So what are analysts from banks, hedge funds, and whatnot, how do they feel about the stock at this current moment? And so you kind of see, according to this, it says the technicals on Apple is more so bearish or selly. But analysts are saying that this is actually a good place to buy. This is still a good place to buy for Apple. And then it also gives you a description of the company. One thing I also like here is that if you click on more financials, it'll actually give you up-to-date information about the financial and income statements that a stock will give. And I won't go through all of this, but if you really want to get deep into investing and researching and understanding a stock, TradingView gives you all the information you need about how the stock has been performing on a financial and fundamental level, as well as a technical level through the chart system, of course, right? So some other information here before I get into the toolbars. The toolbars are definitely going to be the most significant. And setting alerts and doing all sorts of stuff and indicators. I want to I'll get into the tools now, and then I'll show you the sidebar. So some of the tools that are essential for stocks and trading is understanding support and resistance, right? So we can look at a stock, and every single high and low that a stock hits can be treated as a support or as a resistance from the high, or support from the low. Okay, so let me go to the daily chart to show you an example of this. So to draw some of that, I'll start with a trend line. So here, trend line can draw just like that. Let me make this yellow to stand out a bit. Okay. So when you're trading, you want to find patterns and you want to find support and resistance, right? So when you start trading, you'll try to look for trends or patterns. See what a stock's current trend is in, right? So the first thing you can do here is just, if we look at this current chart, right, you kind of see the candles going in a like diagonal down pattern essentially. you could actually draw that. Let's draw that from this top candle. Just drag it out from the top of this candle to the top of that candle, and you see that's kind of a downward trend. You can do the same for the bottom, potentially. From the bottom here to the bottom there. And so that may be telling us something, right? What does it tell us? In technical analysis terms, this is likely a falling wedge pattern, and that could be something you look up more in the future. But using this tool, just clicking on trend line, drawing something from one point to another, you can find a trend very easily, just like that. Now with support and resistance, the tool you want to use here is the horizontal ray. Okay, so that's here. So resistance is typically the top of a candle. Different people are going to maybe find different resistance at certain levels, right? But to make it easy for this tutorial, this walkthrough, you can see the top of a daily candle being resistance, right? So with the horizontal ray tool, I went to the top of this candle right here, and let's make this yellow again. Went to the top of this candle, and now that's our resistance drawn out. And so this line automatically drew a horizontal line and shows us the price of that line, and it is 140.78. So if you were to make sense of this, if the stock were to come up and go to 140.78, you'd expect it to have a little bit of pullback or a little bit of resistance at that level, right? And you can draw support at the bottom of a candle. So let's take this green candle back here and draw it right there. And then that's our support. And then you can color maybe the support as blue, right? So, and you see this candle right here that over here, Apple on these candlesticks actually hit the blue line a few times, right? And it used that as resistance here, of course, but it was a previous support level. And so, but that's how you would draw it. If you want to get very precise, and while you're drawing your lines, sometimes you want to draw it like right at the end or right at the top of these lines, but you kind of don't want to try to, you know, or fidget around with trying to see like, how do I get it to just the right level, like right at the bottom. I don't want to try like aiming and clicking and it's not actually the bottom of the candle. There's a shortcut that can actually help you here. If you hold Control, and I believe on Mac it's if you hold the Apple key, either the Apple key or Control key. I'm not sure. I do not have a MacBook, but if you hold that key, you will see that you see the cursor here, how it kind of just, every time I go above a candle, see my actual cursor is way above these, but it's magneting to the top of each candle as I'm holding Control. You see, I'm just moving sideways, but it's magneting. And so I could do at the top of every single candle just like this. As long as I'm holding Control and clicking, it will automatically magnet your cursor, and so that you can draw these lines directly on top or below each candlestick. So that's extremely useful when you're charting. These shortcuts can become super simple, you know. There are some other tools here that I like to use. There's one, parallel channel. So parallel channel, this one can actually give you a bit of, similar to what the trend line tool did for us earlier. You can draw from one point here So I'm gonna click at the top there. Then you can draw the top of your trend channel. I'm gonna hold control again. I'm gonna click just to magnet to the top of this. So I'm drawing from the top up here to the top down there, and then drag this down. And then what this can do is actually give us a trend and a channel to identify a trend of a certain stock, you know? And so typically it will look like this. And you can see, you know, Apple was trading in this top channel for a while, then it entered the bottom of this channel. Right now, it looks like Apple's about to enter the upper band of a channel again. So this tool is very useful for identifying that. For any tools that you like and you want to use often, you can actually, on the toolbar, click a star next to it and add it to your favorites. And what that does, it actually creates a floating toolbar of the tools that you use the most. So instead of going over here and trying to find the tool in a drop down, you could have any of your favorite tools just right here ready to go. So I have the horizontal ray, extended line, parallel channel, and a few others. Let me unfavorite that because that's actually not one of my favorites. What other cool things on the chart that you can do? You can actually add text to a chart if you're trying to understand, or excuse me, if you're trying to type anything out as a reminder or just a label or a price note or anything about what you're looking at. I can say that I can type out resistance on the text, and then you can of course set whatever font, if you want to bold it, italicize, how you want to text wrap it, whatever it is. Click OK, and there you go. Let me make that maybe a bit bigger. So I can say that this is resistance. I can drag this around, you know, I'll put it right on top of the yellow line there. And so that's pretty simple. And so there's a bunch of tools in here you could use. There's a brush if you just want to free draw anything, you know. So this made something weird there by just freely drawing it with my mouse. There's a rectangle tool. You can draw like a, you know, any rectangle or any shapes, circles, if you want to. So all of these, of course, you have to use to your own liking, and it all helps with maybe if you want to share your chart with someone else, you can point something out, or if you want to draw anything on your chart that will serve as a good visual indicator or reminder of anything you're looking for or identifying. It really adds a lot of flexibility to this. So in addition to text, you can add a tweet to your chart, a note, an arrow. Here I'll draw like an arrow. So this right here is resistance. So I could do this, right? Have that arrow there, have resistance there, and so it's pointing to show you that that's the resistance mark right there. And there's loads of bunch of useful, awesome tools here, and I don't think I'll go through every single one. Especially here, the Fibonacci ones are probably a bit advanced to go and use and understand, but definitely mess around with a lot of these, especially as you get more comfortable with the software. But most of the ones that I just demonstrated are the most important, especially the horizontal ray and the trend line tools. Those are the ones that I use the most. In addition to the toolbar, you can actually zoom, as I mentioned, rolling my mouse, that actually zooms in and zoom out, but you could actually zoom in, zoom out through a tool here. So there's also a tool here that the holding control earlier that I mentioned, this tool actually will do it automatically for you, so you don't have to hold control. I find holding control a bit easier as a shortcut rather than having this on all the time. So you see every time the crossfire here on my cursor is magneting to the top again, just like I showed earlier. You can have it so that you can stay in drawing mode no matter what. So like after drawing something, you could keep just drawing. If I turn that off, I can click once, but it's going to go back to the normal cursor. So clicking multiple times is not going to draw, while if I'm staying in drawing mode, I could just do all of this, you know. If I want to delete all of this stuff, I could either go here to the eraser tool and then click everything individually, or I can hold control again, then click, drag it out, so I can highlight any drawings that I just made, highlight them all, and then click here on the trash can to remove them all. So that was much quicker and simpler than clicking the eraser tool on every single drawing that I just made. So, and lastly, you can also hide whatever anything is on your chart. So you can hide drawings, you can hide indicators, and I'll get into indicators very soon, and hide positions or orders if you're actually trading on the platform itself, and much more. So with that, let me timestamp this, and that next we will be going over indicators. Very excited for this. So 30. So I'll go through indicators, some of the most popular indicators, how to put them on your chart, and some of the ones that I like to use a lot. So let me delete these drawings off of Apple one more time. So here on Apple, the only indicator, as we saw earlier, is volume. So it's showing these red and green bars at the bottom. You may have been wondering that this whole time, actually, because it's kind of jarring where you see all this red and green on one chart. Like, wow, what is all of that? And so what these bars at the bottom are actually showing you are the volume in a certain period of time. And so what volume is, it's the amount of trades that are happening in a specific time frame. Right now we're still on the daily, so this is all of the trades that happened in a given day, and you see some of them are bigger than others. So on this day, May 12th, you see there was a lot of volume on this day, and which means a lot of trades were initiated, both buying and selling, whatever it was, you know. And compared to a different day, you see April 18th, there was less buying and selling. So not as much going on this day comparatively, of course. So that's what volume is showing you. You can have other indicators added as well. So one indicator that people like a lot is MACD. So so to set indicators, you would just come up here to the top, click indicators, and it will bring up this chart here, or this menu rather, that displays many indicators that may interest you or assist you in trading. And you're able to search up any indicator that you want. What's so great about TradingView is that its community is very involved with the creation of all the tools and anything to assist you in your trading journey, because it's all built by its members. There's many built-in indicators that have been created by TradingView itself, but most of the indicators that you will come to use are made by your average Joe. And so you're able to search through this entire library of technical indicators of anything, any type of data that you want to display on your chart that will assist you in making your winning trade. So some popular indicators, and you see just a bunch of indicators here listed as some of the default ones. Some people use things called Bollinger Bands. There's average day range. If I scroll down, a lot of people use moving averages. So you may hear some other traders talk about the 200-day moving average, the 50-day moving average. You may hear traders talk about VWAP, MACD, so on and so forth. So there's so many indicators here that you can just put to good use as a result. So here you see volume again. You can go over here to strategies. You could actually put certain these display data according to certain strategies that people use in their everyday trading. So people, again, Bollinger Bands, MACD, Keltner channels, parabolic SAR, lots of things, you know. There's volume profile. You can actually click over here and find this one for candlestick patterns. So all of these will actually show you what each candlestick pattern is. Like what are you actually seeing? So what did Apple close as, right? It closed as a hammer. You may have known that. So if I click on the hammer indicator, it might display that, or it may not. Yeah, I had figured it may not exactly work as intended here. But if it were to work as intended, let me see if there's another indicator. All candlestick patterns. I think this one will show this. Okay. So this is a bit better. So let me turn the volume indicator off for a moment. If you're familiar with candlestick shapes and patterns and their names, you can look all these up, and I'll give some of the names like hammer, shooter, doji, bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing. So if we start at doji, and doji is an indecisive candle where it has big lines on both sides, right? And then a body, a mini body in the middle. Those are indecisive candles where you don't know if there was like some buying and selling, but it's very indecisive about who was in control. So this indicator here, this one was named all candlestick patterns. This indicator can assist you in identifying those patterns and shapes. So here it says D for doji, and it actually gives you a bit of an explanation of what the candle is. So that's super useful. When the open and the close of a security are essentially equal to each other, a doji candle forms. The length of both upper and lower shadows may vary, causing the candlestick you are left with to either resemble a cross, an inverted cross, or a plus sign. Doji candles show the play out of buyer-seller indication in a tug of war of sorts. So a bit, more in depth of how I just described the doji. And so it's identifying dojis every single time they happen, which is really cool. Over here, these are showing bullish engulfing candles. So it gives you an explanation of what an engulfing candle is. And so that's typically when, price is going one way, but the following candle kind of engulfs and goes, higher than multiple candles prior to it, and sort of takes out their ranges in a way, And so it's identifying both of these candles here and here as bullish engulfings. As I go back, you can see bearish engulfings, dojis, and I actually think I have my settings set that's not showing every single pattern. So here you can have many, right? You can have almost every single type of candle to show. Morning star, kicking, gravestone doji, dragonfly doji. So all sorts of things. This is a bit probably intimidating if you know, because you don't, I don't know what all of these, I actually don't know what a harami cross is, and I've been trading for quite a while, so I don't really get into the names of all these types of shapes and sizes. I really only know the real basics like hammer, doji, and shooter. But this indicator alone is very useful for just labeling that on your chart. Let's get into something else. Let's see MACD. So one indicator I use is MACD crossover. And so what people use as this indicator is they use it to see relative to price action, where is the momentum and the strength and the weakness of the price action that's happening, you know. And so here my signal line is this blue line, and the MACD here is this red line. So what traders like to watch for is they like to watch the MACD when it crosses the signal line, and also just relative to where a MACD is, you know, on its value. So right now the MACD was really low on Apple, and so as the MACD curls up and actually this red line crosses the blue line right here, that is a bullish signal to say that the stock can go a bit higher, right? Anticipating the stock to go up. When you see the red line crossing below the blue line, the MACD crossing below the signal right here, whoop, it's not gonna let me draw exactly there, unfortunately. But you can see right there when it crossed down, the stock on Apple itself also crossed down as well. So people like to use that strategy to understand where price is looking to go next in some type of predictive trading type of fashion. So it's useful having an indicator like this to display that data to assist you in your trading. So the indicator I like to use for my volume, at least, there's one by, and this one is custom created. It's Volume Plus RVOL / alerts by Zen in the Art. So if you click that, oh, whoops. So I actually clicked the wrong thing and it brought me to the creator of the indicator. It took me to their page. So this person is based in Australia. It shows you some of their information, how many people use their indicators and whatnot. So what I actually wanted to do is just to put it on my chart. So I'm just going to click it directly. So instead of that red and green mess of the volume that you saw earlier, I like this one because it shows all the volume just as gray bars, and actually gives you an indication when there's this pink line. If a stock gets above this pink line on a certain time frame, it shows you that there's high volume relative to the average volume that a stock typically trades around. So here, when I see the volume spike above the pink line, that lets me know there's a lot of buying and selling. So a lot of trades are being initiated in this time frame. And so this is the 5-minute interval. So within these 5 minutes, there was a lot of trades being executed. And that's kind of a give or take, because in this case, you could actually see, if you look at the bottom, I'm hovering right now over June 22nd at 15:55, and so that's 3 p.m. EST, so right before the market's about to close. And if I go to the right, there's 9:30 EST of the next day. And so what that tells you also is that, you know, it's just a visual representation of how the last 5 to 10 minutes of market close and the first 5 to 10 minutes of market open are where the most trades are initiated. You can even see the end of today that Apple had a huge volume spike as well, and it crossed above the pink line. So it highlights it green when it does that. That's very useful to see any unusual volume that's happening, or just a visualizer of moments where there's high buying and or selling. Because that's very important information to know as a trader, actually. So on the basic TradingView plan, I believe you're able to put up to 3 indicators at a time. And so that's on the free version where you have the ads and whatnot. You could get by that if you're still using the free version, since it only has 3 indicators. The higher tier plans have up to 4, 8, and I think even 16 indicators, something like that. If you need more indicators, you can actually find some in the custom range, some that combine indicators, so that you don't hit your limit, essentially. So another indicator that people like to use is like moving averages. So I have one, right, called all-in-one moving averages, simplified by this guy, right? So I click that. It's actually going to display several moving averages. One thing that you can do over here where your indicators are listed, you can click on the settings tool. You actually here's one tool I forgot to mention. You could actually hide it or reveal it. You click on settings. You can go into an indicator settings and customize it to display whatever data you want. So there's all these lines here, and maybe I don't want all of these lines. Maybe I just want the 50 and the 200 moving average. I can click and uncheck these boxes where it's only going to show me these 2 lines. Let's say I wanted to make these are 2 very similar shades of green. Maybe I want to make them a bit distinguished. So the 200 MA, maybe I want to make that like a light blue, something like that, right? And I want to make this 50 moving average a completely different color, like pink, something like that, right? So I can set it to that so that I can distinguish my indicators much more easier than the default settings, and set it to my liking. And there it is. And so now you start to see your chart develop, where you have more data on your chart than you did before, these indicators to assist you in trading. I will say when you start out, you may want to ease yourself into using some of these indicators. Although many of them are helpful, you have to understand how they're helpful to you. And so having all sorts of indicators on your chart it's not essentially going to make you a great trader automatically. You have to understand what this data means and how it's assisting you into executing your winning trade. What makes a winning trade out of making use of all this data that is being shown to you, essentially. And so that may be the end of these indicators. And I want to see what other information that we can see on TradingView itself. So So let me actually take these down again, just for simplicity's sake. So to check out the, before I get into the toolbar, actually, let's say that you make a drawing on a chart. And this is what you see on your chart, right? Here you make that. To assist you in trading, you may want to, you need to have to walk away from the chart, or you're looking at something else. You want to be notified when a stock is doing something that you want it to. Maybe it's crossing a specific price. You can set alerts to notify you when something triggers. So here, if you go up here to the top right, you could actually click alert here and create an alert on the stock you're creating. So you could also do that by coming onto the chart, and you see this plus sign here. You could click on the plus sign, say add alert, and it'll automatically set a quick alert for you. And so this alert itself is really only for crossing a price, but you can do more. Otherwise, the other way and final way you can do so is by right clicking on the chart and going here, clicking add alert. There's actually, now I'm just learning this too, that there's a shortcut to assist with that. So Alt A will bring this menu up as well. So when you create an alert, you can set a condition to trigger the alert and have it notified to you. You can say if this alert is going to happen every single time the condition is fulfilled, or only once, and then the alert deletes itself. You can even set when it expires. So these alerts, depending on your plan that you're subscribed to, whether it's a free plan or paid plan, there's actually different expiration times, I believe. We can set an expiration time for when you want it to expire. If the alert just never triggers, or if you're done having it as a, on your stock or whatever it is. So you can actually set alert actions as well. You have it to notify on the app, show a pop-up, even send an email to yourself. And you can type whatever message you want for when the alert is triggered. So here, this alert specifically would say Apple crossing 138.89. I could do here, maybe that's the alert I set as a resistance level, and I could say Apple breaking resistance. You can actually give the alert a name itself too. Then click create, and then it's right there. And so if Apple were to go up the next day and cross above this line, then it would display that as a real alert in real time. And so setting these alerts is very useful as well with keeping on track with any stock that you want and trying to execute trades on the fly. If you have a drawing and you like how it is, or you want to share this idea with someone else, or even save it for your own personal disclosure, you can come up here to the right and either click on the snapshot tool or click publish to share it with your community. So if you click the snapshot tool, you can save an image of this chart. You can copy this image. You can copy a link to it so you can share it with anyone in your community or someone else. You can open it in a different tab. You can actually tweet it. You can connect your Twitter to your TradingView account, and you can tweet it directly. to your audience if you have trading specific audience. So the sharing tools on here are very useful on TradingView, and publish as well. So before I get into the toolbar, I do want to show that you could actually, because I do use this is only a single chart. If you do upgrade eventually to a pro plan, you could display 2 stocks at a time here. So let's say I want Apple and Tesla side by side, so I can watch them simultaneously. You can do that. What I like the most is the 4-panel one that allows for 4 panels of a chart that you are able to watch simultaneously. And so you can have them synced by symbol. So if you want them all to be the same ticker, you could have Tesla in all 4 panels, for example. But maybe I want Tesla in my first panel to be the daily time frame, but the second panel I want to be the weekly time frame. And now it's the same stock, but I'm watching different time frames on a different one, different panels. The bottom left, I can do 1 month, and let's say the bottom right, I'll do the hour for that. So these are all panels, 4 different panels of Tesla, but all different time frames. And that can assist you with, if you want to look at the smaller time frames for some more pinpoint trading, or even looking at the bigger time frames for macro patterns or trends that a stock is currently trading in. So that can be very useful to assist you. And so that's when you click if you want the symbol to be in sync but not the interval. So I can have the interval in sync. So if I do Apple, Microsoft, oh, whoops. Let me not do the symbol in sync. It's just the interval. And I'll do time as well. So there's Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Tesla. So if I switch the time frame, it's going to update them on every single one now that I had the interval synced. And if I move to the left on my chart on Apple, it's also moving the time on the other charts. So all of them are in sync for everything except the symbol. So I prefer it that way. These are my default settings to have the interval, crosshair, and time to be in the same range, while also having a 4-panel chart. You can even have it set like this, where it's all parallel like this. This would get a bit confusing, because for me, that's because there's so much side by side, it doesn't seem like enough space to look at everything. But you could if that's what you're comfortable with. And so yeah, this is how I like to default. If you want to make a stock screen full screen, you could either come to the bottom and then click toggle maximize chart, or you can hold Alt then click for an easy shortcut to just full screen or unfull screen your chart. So that's also very useful. If you want to look at extended hours trading or pre-market hours, you can come down here, click here on where it says ETH or RTH, regular hours. And that could be very useful. Now, finally onto the tabs on the panel. So the first tab, as we saw, was the watch list, and that is you can customize to your liking. You also have an alerts tab on your watch list, where it will show you all the alerts that you have set, and it has a log of all the alerts that triggered for you. So any alert that you set and the conditions were fulfilled and triggered, it will show you when it was triggered and what stock it was at what price. Super useful. One thing I also like about TradingView is that there's a news tab that will give you all the recent headlines for whatever stock you're looking at. So for Apple, this is giving me all of the most recent big headlines from today to however far back I want to go. So now I'm going to like the beginning of June. But you can see it will give you all of these headlines. If you click on one of them, it will give you the complete article actually of what stock, whatever headline it's telling you about the stock that you're looking at. So you can stay up to date on your news straight from TradingView. You don't have to use CNBC because it's all here. There's also a data window that lets you know some of the data points of the stock that you're looking at. And so it will also give you some data of the indicator that or the indicators you're putting on your chart. It'll tell you what day it is, time, open, low, volume, what have you. There's another tab for hot lists. So these will be, they work almost as scanners, as they will display what stocks within whatever category is being displayed. So the biggest volume gainers, so the stocks that had the most volume gained within that trading day, it'll show you the most here on this list. So on this day, it says a stock named BHAT and AMD and NEO were some of the biggest volume gainers today. There's another one, gap gainers. It'll show you what stocks gapped up and had a big, huge day. I can also change this to others. I could say the biggest percent gainers. So this stock here, that BHAT that we saw earlier, this stock actually had it increased by 263%. So it just about tripled its stock price within this one day. That's actually really insane. That's really crazy. And then on the bottom, you can see the biggest percent change losers. So for today, a stock IPX, that one decreased by 23%. So the stock lost 23%. You can change this to volume gainers. We had to actually cover that, but gap gainers and losers, percent gap gainers and losers. You can specify to only the USA within the NASDAQ or the NYSE, or different exchanges all across the world, wherever you're trading, of course. You can customize it to that. Very awesome. Over here, this also gives you a calendar. So it will give you the economic calendar of every economic event that happens over the course of a week or a month. And so if you see here, it showed when the Federal Reserve was speaking, jobless claims numbers coming out, unemployment numbers, many crucial data points. It will display for you and tell you when they're coming on whatever date, and also give you the time that that data is being released. There's also the earnings calendar to tell you what stocks are going to be having earnings and which earnings are coming up. And so it shows today, like stocks like Rite Aid and Darden Restaurants had earnings today. If you scroll down, it'll show you ones coming up over the next day, the next few days. So Nike is going to be on June 27th. So if you need an update on when certain stocks you may be interested are about to have earnings, you can come to this tab. You can also have this tab, My Ideas. So per the chart we just drew, right? let's say you want to share this with your community, or you want to save this as an idea about what could happen with Apple stock. You could click the plus sign here, and you could write up a trade idea of what you think is going to happen. So I could say Apple breaking MACD could push higher based on what we saw earlier, right? That could be the title of this trade idea. And then you could put a description of what you think you saw. You can put a snapshot of you can put a snapshot of your chart in here. You could actually include a link, customize the text, how it looks, different symbols to link towards. Maybe put your due diligence, some research about the stock, some news about what happened recently, and post that all in here in the description box. And then you could submit it either publicly to the entire TradingView community to see, or privately if you want to just share it within a small audience. You could label it as either analysis of a stock, or maybe the idea that you had was a tutorial, as this entire video is. And so maybe a tutorial of what a strategy is, or a certain setup is. And you can say what you think the stock is going to do. So if we said Apple breaking MACD could push higher, you'd say it's a long strategy. It's bullish in this case. You can categorize it by trend analysis, fundamental analysis. In this case, it would be trend and chart patterns. You share via Twitter and then tag your post. Then you can publish it. So very intuitive system here for your tracking and publishing your ideas and what you see on the chart. You can actually build a following and an audience off of doing that. There are also public chats in this tab, and this allows you to talk to the TradingView community at large, just anybody who's using the platform. And so you can type in here if you want to join the conversation, and there are different chat rooms upon which you can join and participate in. So the most popular one is likely cryptocurrencies, where people are probably saying all sorts of stuff about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other types of coins and tokens. And you see how active it is. You see people are constantly talking here. There's Forex, stocks and indexes, oil chat, more crypto, and you actually can create your own group if you wanted to. One for beginner traders, chart patterns, and see how it goes. So you can literally join the conversation and learn more about trading and TradingView itself. Have conversations with others about the markets at large, and see how you can build your understanding of all of this, or help the next person within their understanding through these chat rooms. You can also there's private chats upon where you're sent, ideas stream. So if you follow other people on TradingView, their ideas, like the one that we had just created or it was about to post, their ideas can come through here based on the people you follow on TradingView. So you can in real time keep up with your favorite traders and look at their trade ideas. There's a streaming feature if you want to watch streams. So there's a bunch of people who have live streams of their trading, and you could watch this while you chart and trade, which is very useful. You can also have there's notifications tab here, an order panel tab if you trade on TradingView, and I don't believe I'll cover that part in TradingView. Mainly the basics and what you absolutely need to know as it relates to this. And so if Finally, I will also cover just part of customizing the look of your chart at large. So if you right click a chart, like an empty space on your chart, you can actually set a color theme here. I actually have a custom color theme, or you can go to your settings, and here you can change your chart and your candlesticks to be whatever color and look you want. So there's appearance. So if you wanted to change your background to a different color, let's say white. Ooh, that's super blinding. But by default on some people's chart, it will be completely white. It is the default. But I do not like how that looks. That's giving me a headache. You could do it all sorts of funky colors, however you want your charts to look, just like that. You can change the color of the text, the crosshair, how it appears there, in your symbols, again, how it looks, however theme you want it to be. Again, I'm going to reset it back to how it was originally. So my original is green and purple, and I like it like that. So one final thing that I love about TradingView is that you can actually replay what happens on a stock. So let's say you wanted to review a trade or just review how stock traded or went. You can click on the replay tool here next to the alert tab, and it will bring this menu up. So let's say I wanted to see how SPY traded Apple rather in this case, how it traded from the beginning of this week after last Friday. I could set my start time. I just click there on Friday, and I'm on the 15-minute chart, and I can see a full replay of how Apple traded. So this feature is super awesome if you want to review your own trade, if you want to showcase how a stock went, or trade analysis that you made to someone else. It's very useful for tutorials and review, I would say, as the top usages for this tool. It's super useful. You can adjust the speed, you can adjust where to start the replay, and you can actually draw on the replay itself, like while it's happening in real time. So I very much appreciate that feature, and it's super awesome. In review, I do very much love this platform, and just hopefully from this video you've been able to see just how intuitive, how customizable, how many tools are available to you to accomplish anything you're attempting to do in the market. And the possibilities are infinite. While I covered a lot within this tutorial, there's so much more for you to explore. And I feel as though I'm discovering new things every single day about TradingView. And I'm learning about how more awesome that this platform is than I actually already knew about it. And so I'm always loving more features that they add. It's constantly being updated. It's an absolute just, it's a blessing in a way to have a platform like this that is available free first, and the extra features that you can pay for, those just add to the awesomeness of this platform. And so I really encourage people to use this and learn this to the best of their ability so that they can take advantage of their trading journey as they deserve.